So you're a real estate agent, you get a pre-qualification letter, or maybe you get a pre-approval letter. What the heck's the difference? And does it even matter? Well, first thing I want to tell you is don't pay attention to the verbiage, pre-qualification versus pre-approval. They're used so interchangeably right now in our industry, it probably doesn't really matter. So instead, let's look at those details and what can you as a real estate agent do to make sure that you're in a good situation with your home buyer. So the first thing you want to do is you want to call that loan officer and you want to ask them what type of loan did you qualify them for. Now, if they say, an FHA, do a follow-up question. Okay, you qualified them for an FHA, great. If need be, if for some reason we needed to go conventional, could they? And the reason you want to ask this question is sometimes actually very qualified individuals end up going FHA. Sometimes it's a better deal, depending on their scenario, than a conventional. So we want to look at that and say, just because it's an FHA, maybe it's not a first-time buyer, maybe they don't have bad credit, maybe they don't have high debt-to-income ratios, maybe it's actually somebody who could qualify for conventional if needed, and thereby expanding the possibilities of what kind of houses you can get. If it's a VA loan, a great follow-up question to ask, because a lot of loan officers don't do this. We do it on every pre-approval. This should be standard on every pre-approval, but on a VA, ask them, did you do your residual calculation check? And what that is, VA actually has a residual calculation check to make sure that the home buyer is in a good position, even if they qualify in debt to income, even if they have great credit score. We want to make sure that they have enough money at the end of the month, as opposed to more month at the end of the money. So VA is the only loan that we have that does this. It's a great thing. All loans should have residual calculations, by the way, but right now only VA is the one that does it. So those are two really good follow-up questions. The next question you want to ask is, hey, have you received asset verification from the home buyer yet, or are you still working on getting that? Now, keep in mind, you're not asking to see. I don't want to see the assets. I don't even want to know how much assets they have or where they have their money. It doesn't matter to me as a real estate agent, but I need to know you as the loan officer has taken that step in this pre-approval to make sure that we actually have assets that we can verify. Here's a good example. Let's say the client says that they have $100,000, but what they don't maybe understand is that $100,000 is tied up in an account that's going to have a 40% withdrawal hit and taxes on top of that, and now you can only count $60,000. So it's important to ask that loan officer, did the loan officer take that step? Now sometimes you got a good loan officer that asks for it and the client actually hasn't provided it yet. So it's important to understand where you're at with that. The next question, the number 3 question is, have you received pay stubs verification yet, or are you still waiting on getting that? And here's the reason that I would ask that as a real estate agent. I want to know, how is that pay look? As an example, maybe you get bonuses, maybe you get commissions, maybe you get overtime, maybe you get different things that can change how much money you actually make as far as what's counted to get you qualified. So I want to know, did that loan officer actually get this information before they sent the pre-approval out? I'll give you a quick example. This is kind of a funny one. And this is why I always tell everybody, use local loan officers, people you can actually talk to. We received a call from a client about a week ago, and they were self-employed. And we let them know, hey, we need to see your tax returns before we can send your pre-approval letter. He says, well, I already have a pre-approval letter. I make about X amount. Okay, we understand, but we really need to see that. So we need to see what your actual taxable income is. But if you got a really good CPA, you may end up having a situation where that income isn't what you think it is. He says, don't worry about it, I already got pre-approved. Well, he ends up sending us his tax returns, and we go through and we qualify him for whatever he's going to qualify for. He then sends us a pre-approval letter from another mortgage company. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but we're going to call this company Mocket Mortgage. I think that's good, Mocket Mortgage, because we want to protect the innocent. But Mocket Mortgage call center told them, oh, don't worry, you're pre-approved up to, in this case, $400,000. Well, we approved him for like $340,000 based off the tax returns. He says, well, no, why is theirs different? When we start looking at this, it specifically says they have not verified income. They have not verified assets. You have a self-employed person, you haven't verified income? How can you possibly send a pre-qualification letter if you do not verify income on a self-employed person? Be careful. Remember, don't pay attention to the verbiage pre-qualification versus pre-approval. Pay attention to the details that are in it. To be fair, Mocket Mortgage they're great. They have one of the best telemortgaging. Did I say telemortgager? I didn't mean that. Not telemarketing. Call center, maybe call center loan officers. They're very good in a lot of aspects. So look at the details, okay? And Mocket Mortgage is fictitious name, obviously. The next question that you want to ask is, and this is the fourth question that we want to ask our loan officer, is have you received AUS approval? Now, what the heck is AUS approval? That's an automated underwriting system. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac both use it. You ask them and they say, yeah, we got that. You want a follow-up question. And here's that follow-up question to make sure that you really fully understand, make sure this loan officer understands where you're coming from too. And you should write these questions down, by the way. Here's the next question I would ask just as a follow-up. Did you receive DU or LPA approval? Now, why would I ask that? DU's Fannie Mae, LPA's Freddie Mac. That loan officer should be able to tell you, oh, we can go either one. Or a good loan officer may even say, you know what, that's a good question. I don't remember which one, let me look it up. Oh, it looks like we got LPA approval, so we should be good. Okay, well, great, they did their homework. If they say, well, no, we don't need that, client's in great situation. You might want to question that because you need to have that approved through your AUS system. Now, let's say you're doing a investment property or a non-QM portfolio type loan. Well, has the investor looked at it? How certain are you of this? The next question we want to ask, this one's actually great. This is a great question, is how confident are you that we can meet our closing day? And do you believe we can get our CTC 5 days early? So let's say I have a 25-day contract. Can I get my CTC 5 days early? That's 20 days. A good mortgage company should certainly be able to do that. Now, I say a good mortgage company, but let's take that a step further. Maybe it's your buyer. You have a good mortgage company, but the buyer's difficult. The buyer's situation is difficult. That can lead to a few delays. And keep in mind, the loan officer, if you're the listing agent, the loan officer doesn't have to tell you anything. They don't have to tell you diddly squat. But asking these questions in this way is not exposing any personal data of that client, but it is allowing you as the listing agent to really analyze where is the client, where is the loan officer, and have they done their due diligence ahead of time, as opposed to we just kind of hope it goes. We've actually seen a lot of situations where loan officers don't verify things at other companies ahead of time. At 719 Lending, we absolutely will go through and do all of our due diligence ahead of time before we even send that letter out. So don't just get pre-approved, get 719 approved. Anyway, enough with the cheesy commercials. Next question we want to ask. What's your preferred method of communication? Man, that sounds easy enough, right? Well, if you're dealing with a telemortgager, maybe they only want to deal with email. Or maybe you have a local person who's out doing their thing all day long and they do better by text. Don't get frustrated if you're trying to call and they don't answer. Don't get frustrated if you text and they don't like the text. Instead, find out what's your method of communication. Why do you prefer to do this? And then communicate with them in that manner. The last question that we want to ask, number 7, last question we want to ask here is there anything in your opinion that would cause any concern for this loan? Again, they don't have to answer yes or no, but they may say, oh, there's a little bit of hair on it, but I think we should be okay. It's just good to get this information for you as a real estate agent and for you to really understand what's the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approved. Again, go on to Google, type in CFPB, which is Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, pre-qualification versus pre-approval. You're going to realize people are using these terms interchangeably. Don't pay attention to those terms. Look at the details. I hope that helps you win on your next transaction.